and our safety tip for the month. As far as fires go, we had one activated alarm with no fires, 40 medical emergencies, one motor vehicle collision with a pedestrian, and three motor vehicle crashes. For our safety tip, it's home fire sprinklers. Fire sprinklers serve as the first line of defense against fires and often extinguish the fire before the fire department arrives. For more information, you can visit homefiresprinkler.org. Fires spread quickly. Fire can turn deadly in under 2 minutes. Synthetic materials burn quicker and release deadly poisonous smoke. High-risk individuals in home fires include small children, elderly adults, those with disabilities, and pets. Fire sprinklers protect your home, family, and activate automatically to control the fire, thereby giving everyone a chance to escape. The best protection is having working smoke alarms, fire sprinklers, and a practiced fire escape plan. And any more information about Honolulu's ordinances relating to fire safety is available at fire.honolulu.gov. Is all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department from the board, in person or online? Okay, seeing none. Any questions from the public? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. All right, next order of business is the Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Nishimura representing HPD District 7 East Honolulu. The following are the statistics for the month of April. Motor vehicle theft 10, burglary 4, theft 27, UEMV 8, with total calls for service in the district 6,334. Our safety tip for the month are safe driving tips. Please use your seatbelts all the time while you're driving. Ensure children also are seatbelted in and are in the proper child seating if appropriate. Please don't drink and drive, drive sober. Pay attention to the road. That's regards to using your cell phones and whatnot. Obey the speed limits. Never drive while you're tired. Share the road responsibly with pedestrians, bicyclists. Pay attention to flashing lights with regards to emergency vehicles that may be parked in or on the side of the road. If you have a teen driver, please communicate with them all of these safety tips. And also, if applicable, check for recalls on your current vehicle that you may be driving. And that's our report for the month. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant. Any questions for the Honolulu Police Department from the board, in person or online? Okay, seeing none. Any questions from the public? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay, next item of business is the report from the Board of Water Supply. Is Lorna on?
I'm here. Can you folks hear me okay?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Very good. Hi, good evening. Quick announcement this month. I don't have any main breaks to report from last month. The only announcement that I have this month is about summer water conservation tips. So the sun is going to be turning up the heat, and summer is just around the corner. So it's important to ensure we're saving every drop of water to keep our community strong and sustainable today and for generations to come. I just wanted to give you folks some easy tips to save water this summer. Water your plants early in the morning to reduce evaporation. Take shorter showers. Well, we recommend 5-minute showers. Check for toilet leaks and check to see if the flapper is faulty. That's usually the culprit when your toilet starts to leak. Don't let your faucet run and apply for a Board of Water Supply rebates on water efficient appliances and systems. So saving water not only helps conserve this precious resource, but it can lower your water bill. And if you want more information and tips, visit our website, www.boardofwatersupply.com/7ways. That's all I have for this month. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, thanks, Lorna. Any questions for the Board of Water Supply from the board, in person or online? Okay, any questions from the public? Yes, ma'am, go ahead. could you state your name, please?
My name is Dawn Smith, and I'm a fairly recent homeowner to this state. I'm born and raised here, but went to college on the mainland and stayed for many years before coming back home. And I'm getting used to the water bills, the power bills, et cetera. It's the saying being priced out of paradise. I can see where that's based. But my water bill, or I should say my sewer bill, is what I have concern about, because I live in a two bathroom, 3-bedroom home, and we have a small 490 square foot ADU attached to it, 1 bedroom. And our water bill, our sewer bill, we pay $77 per unit for a base sewer rate. And I apologize if I have the terminology wrong, because I had to work late. I couldn't go home to get my notes. But so we pay every month about $155 for sewer, because we have 2 kitchens in the unit. Whereas my aunt, who has a 8,000 square foot house with 5 or 6 bathrooms and 7 or 8 bedrooms, pays $77 a month. So I found out in talking with the billing department that it doesn't matter how many toilets or how many bedrooms or water usage, it's a base rate of $77 per kitchen. And so it just seems kind of unfair that we have 3 people living at our home, actually 4 people living at our home, and we pay that much for sewage. So the sewer bill is $155. Our water bill is $18 at our last bill. So it just seems very unfair. Is there anything that's going to be done to kind of equalize or make it more fair for people who have, you could have a monster home with 1 kitchen, but lots of wet bars, and they would pay $77, whereas my little house pays $155.
Thank you, ma'am. So Lorna, did you hear all that? And is this something that you need to refer back to the city for the sewer fee side versus the Board of Water Supply side?
Correct. Thank you. That's where I would go with that one.
Okay. So ma'am,
Yeah.
so what I would suggest is at the appropriate time of the meeting, the mayor's representative is not able to make it this evening, but I'll just note for the minutes that you made that comment, and if they can report back at the next meeting with respect to that question. Right. Sure. Okay. Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate it. Okay. Audrey, go ahead.
Interrupt, but thank you for bringing that up, because I have the same problem. I have an ADU that's just a studio, and my total bill is about $225, and so it's like $77 just for each kitchen, and but the total bill is only about $220. But I couldn't understand, because it's just a studio with 1 room and a bathroom, so and I get charged at $77. So thank you for bringing that up.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions for the Board of Water Supply? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you very much, Lorna. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care. All right. Next item of business is public input. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on items that are not listed on our agenda this evening, which may be discussed by the board, but the board may not take any action on those items. Is there any public input this evening? I see Carol Hoshiko of KCC.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and community members. I just want to let you know that Kapiolani Community College is going to be offering court interpreter training at no cost to participants. And the class starts on July the 12th and runs through August 20th. This is for people who are bilingual have a proficiency in their native language and English proficiency. You can be approved through Good Jobs Hawaii. And then if everything is okay, then you're put into our Destiny registration system, and you'll be able to go through a class. And then if you pass the tests, you'll be able to become a Tier 1 court interpreter. And we've had someone actually, I think might have been from one of your meetings, who heard about this and attended the court interpreting class. So I thought I would just mention it, bring it up to you today. And then also let you know that things are moving along with the CIP. Some of the facilities actually are being utilized by the school, but there are still some internal adjustments being done in the restaurant, but it will be open this year. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Carol. Appreciate it. All right. Any other public input? Lori Yamada.
Okay. Yeah.
Lori, are you there?
Yes, I am. I had to find the button.
Okay,
Anyway,
go ahead.
yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank the various volunteers that came to Maumai Nature Park's first Adopt a Park cleanup. We had 29 volunteers, representatives from the Q Dojo group, as well as the Dog Hui group, and community volunteers. Also, 3 people from Representative Jackson Sayama's office came, and it was very successful. We did a lot of damage, well, good damage to the park. So thank you so much. And looking forward to another cleanup in the near future, which we'll be discussing in our next meeting next week. So thank you very much. Also, I was wondering about the 16th and Wailai Avenue stoplight. My girlfriend and I just passed that stoplight today, taking me home, and noticed that I think the lights have changed, but I'm not sure. And too bad we don't have the mayor's office as well as, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, the mayor's office people aren't here. So I'd like to ask that question. Did they really change that, the light so that it changes? Because I saw there was a left turn lane now, going towards Diamond Head. So that's where I'm at. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks very much, Lori. All right. Any other public input this evening? Oh,
Can you clarify that? You said there's a left turn, like a dedicated, no, not a
Oh.
dedicated, left turn lane going Diamond Head Way?
It is a left turn light, you know how you come off of the highway going Eva. And I saw, I never noticed one going towards Diamond Head that there's a left turn arrow
Yeah, I
pointing
noticed
towards
that too. There is a left turn
16.
arrow.
Yeah.
I noticed that recently.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
I don't know if they were testing it, but a couple of weeks ago, I was going Eva bound direction,
Mm.
and I saw the left turn arrow with the green light on the right lane.
Mhm.
I thought I was seeing things, but because right now the left turn arrow only goes off by itself. But that
Mhm.
one day, the green arrow and the right lane green light was on at the same time.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they're testing that. I'm not sure, but good to clarify what's going on.
Yeah. So good that you noticed something.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And I
Yeah.
hope it'll turn out to be, you go one bunch go to the left and and
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean? One
Yeah,
by one
exactly.
going
I know
left.
what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.
all right. Thank you, Audrey. So you had a comment? Do you mind coming up to the microphone and stating your name, please? Thank you.
Look at the agenda, so perhaps what I was going to bring up is already on the agenda. But I simply had gotten through the media that if you had a concern or interest in having dogs at the public park, top of the hill, I wanted to come down and speak on that behalf.
Sir, yeah, we do have it on the agenda, so if you don't mind holding your comment, and then we'll circle back to you. Appreciate it. Thanks very much for coming out, though. Appreciate it. All right, any other public input this evening on any other matter? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to community updates. Is there a representative from the Kaimukī Business and Professional Association this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to presentations and discussions. First off, we have our monthly update from the Hawaii Bicycling League, courtesy of Eric McCutcheon. Eric.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on our journey. For those of you who have been with me since the beginning, we started by looking at micro mobility and mass mobility, all those devices and vehicles that are on the road. Then we took a look at some of the plans, the programs, the visions of how to keep us all safe in our vehicles and devices on the road. And then most recently, we've been looking at some of the bills, some of the very specific changes that could occur to keep us safe in our vehicles and devices on the road. So we will continue with that, looking at some of the bills that may have died, but definitely some of the bills that are alive. But first, our advertisement. Next slide. It is Bike Month, sponsored by HBL. Lots of different activities going on, mostly sort of downtownish. But if you ride a bike, go ahead and take a better look at hbl.org, and you can see some of the surprises and goodies for people on their bikes and e-bikes. All right, next slide. So if you remember, back in February, we touched on all of those bills that you see right there, House bills and Senate bills. It is now May. Drum roll. How many of those are still alive? Next slide. Boom. Those two, and they're a companion bill. But at least there's this one, and there's others that I'm going to show you that are alive, that are related to bikes, e-bikes, sharing the road, helmets, ages of operation, rebates, insurance, driver's licenses, all kinds of stuff like that. So let's see what might change. These are all on the governor's desk for your comment. So that House Bill 958, it was a big one, an omnibus e-bike bill, lots of stuff related to e-bikes, like helmets to 18, okay, to match our recent city and county law change. Remember, we talked about putting labels or stickers on actual different kinds of e-bikes. So you have some knowledge about how fast they could go and what laws they need to behave to, because it also goes into what is safe driving, the ages and actions that safe operators can take, clarifies low speed and high speed. So this is a big bill sitting on the governor's desk that will tighten up some of the rules, at least related to e-bikes. And again, a lot of action on that because of the dramatic rise in interest in e-bikes and corresponding sort of accidents and such. All right, for moped people, if you're moped riders or you know moped riders, there's a bill sitting on the governor's desk, SB 30, that's going to make moped riding only for 16 and older, and helmets for all ages. Wow. You know, I'm all for that. But again, there's a little controversy, and there's, again, different sides on this bill. And feel free to share your thoughts. For skateboarders, there's a bill that would require helmets to age at least 18 on public property for skateboards. So again, be aware of that if it does get signed into law. Next slide. Little bit controversial, maybe. There's a House Bill 1231 supporting safe routes to schools. There will be a new $5 surcharge for all of our motor vehicle registration. but it will go to supporting the safe routes to schools. One of the programs that Vision Zero was based on. So again, it's maybe a little bit of pain for a little bit of safety, something to think about. So before we go to the next slide, just want to remind you that some of these things are very controversial. There's a lot of people arguing on both sides. And just to remind you, this is a little low tech, but again, this is the current fatalities in our state on our roads. Unfortunately, as of printed today, it has climbed up to 56 fatalities. And again, our vision is Vision Zero. No fatalities in our state, in our community. And so this next one is again a step towards that. Final slide, Senate Bill 1195. It's a program called Daylighting Intersections. So the idea is you don't allow parking within 20 feet of a crosswalk. And there's a $50 fine if you're caught in that zone. And again, that money will go to safe routes to schools. And if you look at the picture, you can see, there's some crosswalks and there's some cars parked very close to the crosswalk, right? And that creates a blind spot for people on the sidewalk, people in the crosswalks. Obviously, a danger zone, and we looked at some of the work from Vision Zero showing that the more intersections you have, the more accidents you have. So making those intersections safer should reduce accidents. You can see the vision lines, the line of sight for all the people on and around the road is certainly improved. Something for you to think about. I just leave these ideas, and there's other ideas that are sitting on the governor's desk. Just be aware. And as always, be safe on the road. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Any quick questions for Eric? Yeah. So go ahead.
Eric, you met 51 fatalities this year?
This year, from January 1st to May 21, 56 fatalities
56
statewide.
Thank you.
Okay. Lori Yamada?
I was wondering, it's illegal to have somebody riding in the back of your moped, right? I mean, it's a moped. Because I always seeing that, I'm wondering, is that legal? It looks dangerous.
Moped law, one rider. That is
So what are you
current
gonna-
law in Hawaii.
What does one do when you see this kind of instances, you know?
You, of course, could call 911,
Mm.
but it's a very fluid situation, and they're probably cruising off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be just, I think, knowledge of the police to catch them in the act.
Okay, and now with the helmet law would be better, right?
So even better. So again, that's a very obvious, easy change for police to enforce, right? If
Yeah,
that law
yeah.
becomes law, all ages even easier to enforce.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, you have a question?
I liked your last slide with the 20 feet from parking, from intersection. But can it be for other streets? Because I live in Kaimukī, there's Kaimukī, Monolo, and 21st. And if people park close to the stop sign, I can't see. And there's more cars parking. So I don't know where that comes in.
My understanding of the law is that it is 20 feet from a painted intersection. So if there's no painted intersection, this law doesn't apply. That's my understanding right now.
Sarah, suggestion, next meeting when you come, ask the police officers, what is the law? How close can a car park to a non-sidewalked intersection? They will know that like that.
Oh, I just have a comment. I don't think any laws could possibly make a difference for the e-bike culture and the kids, because it's like the 2025 version of outlaw bikers. They're just going to do whatever they want with their friends, and it is what it is. That's just a cynical view.
Come on, Franklin. We'll all set a good example, and kids learn by a good example.
All right. Okay. So we're going to have to move on. So thanks very much, Eric. Appreciate it. Okay. So we're going to move on to an update from Hawaii Green Growth, follow the drop initiative. Cyrus, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the board, and aloha mai kako. My name is Cyrus Howe. I work for a local nonprofit called Hawaii Green Growth. We really we're a network-based organization of public and private partnerships trying to advance sustainable development across Hawaii. This presentation is really about an initiative to set up the Alawai watershed as a special improvement district so that we can advance nature-based solutions such as rain gardens, rain barrels, albizia eradication more effectively, fund it more effectively, and implement these projects more efficiently. So I often start these presentations just with a sort of an elementary introduction to, where our water comes from, in contrast to watersheds on the mainland where they can stretch, thousands of feet. We're able to see our watershed. We're, in it every day. Anson, my remote control is, maybe we'll go with next slide. So just to give you an idea of the importance of particularly the ridge tops of our mountains, this is just a precipitation map. These ridge tops are responsible for about 40% of our drinking water. We're drinking water that's 25 years old, according to Board of Water Supply. But as the next slides, 2 slides will show, these are threatened. So just after the Lahaina wildfire, the Mililani Mauka fire occurred, and this is areas of rainforest that really are not supposed to burn. So this is very concerning, and it's just a reminder that we have to do everything in our power to protect these forests. Next slide, please. Especially because after they burn, they become these landslide hazards, and it's very hard to regenerate it. So protecting it while it's here is the way to go. Looks like, did you go 2 slides maybe? Okay, so this slide just shows kind of the before and after development in our urban watershed. 200,000 residents live here, and just to give you an idea of the territory, it spans from between Diamond Head to Punch Bowl, from the ridgetops down to the reefs. And, we're not super hardcore where we're trying to reverse, and go back to the image on the left here. We're thinking more just almost a hybrid, not even 50-50, but just to give you an idea, 30% canopy cover would significantly reduce urban heat and just make the whole town a lot more livable and pleasant. Next slide, please. To give you a sense of the sheer density or breadth of the impervious or impenetrable surface areas caused by concrete and rooftops, it's about 4,500 acres, or the equivalent to our international airport. This is what our drainage, storm drain and stream system looks like. It's important to know that this is separate from sewer. That has to go to treatment plants, so they're separate systems. But the next slide shows you on the ground what this actually looks like, this sort of weird hybrid of unnatural, natural, and these can exacerbate flood risks as well. And they're just really bad for native or really any species, stream biology, fish, shrimp, and everything that would like to live in a stream. And so this is why every major rain event we have, it makes the news, and we get images like these of the Alawai Canal. So the plan, and this idea to set up the Alawai watershed as a special improvement district is not new. If you recall from the Native Hawaiian days, that they would have a konohiki, and that would be basically this specialist kind of chieftain head with teams of people that really stewarded and managed the ahupua'a. More recently, in the 90s, DOH came out with reports that said, districts dedicated to the health and safety of our watershed are a good idea. So moving forward. There's precedent for this. This is just a snapshot from our website. I have a QR code to that towards the end, but just to show that there are districts like this very nearby, Waikiki Beach Special Improvement District and Fort Street Mall Business Improvement District. So you can see, for example, the farmers market there meant to drive foot traffic in that area. And then in Waikiki, you're probably familiar, if you've driven through there, you've seen these Aloha ambassadors riding the bikes, helping tourists or helping clean up garbage. Did we skip this slide? Oh yeah, so I just wanted to kind of end the presentation with some examples of the projects that would benefit from this special improvement district designation. This is an image of a very modest 35-gallon rain barrel that was installed. I live in Makiki, but this is just down the road from my house. And it's noteworthy because apartments have homeowners associations, they have the property manager. So a couple lines of red tape that you have to go through. So I just wanted to show this as this can happen even at an apartment or a condo. Rain garden to the left of Waikiki Aquarium. These are the first phase of albizia eradication. So they're stripping the bark to get to that. It's very expensive. It's like tens, if not hundreds of thousands per tree, depending on the size. And they're very hard to reach too. So the folks at Ko'olau Mountains Watershed Partnership, we would hope that they too, they're a member of our Alawai Watershed Collaboration Working Group. They're the conservation guys that are taking pictures that you see in National Geographic of the native species that they're trying to protect, from the snails to the plants, and just incredible stuff. Helicopters hunting, ungulates like goats and sheep, or I'm not sheep, pigs. This is just, it's hard to see in the room here, but debris catchment. You've probably seen these boons in the Alawai Canal. 808 cleanups. They're a very small, I think, 2-person team, nonprofit that are all over Oahu cleaning up all the time. Just incredible work. And so the next slide will show some of the things, the species non-human that would benefit from such a district. With that, I will conclude and open it up to any questions. This QR code, as well as is the same thing as the URL at the bottom there, will take you to our website where you can access the draft bill that we are in the process of gathering community input on, and we hope to introduce to City Council later this year.
All right, thanks, Cyrus. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Harold.
The question is just a statement and comment. I see you had a slide with AlawaiCentennial.org and Sean Connolly's project, and he envisions the Alawai Golf Course as something other than a golf course. Kalo Farms, marshland, it's critical social justice ideological vision. And then you also have people like the Outdoor Circle that envisions the golf course property as a central park. Well, it's not going to happen. It's going to stay a golf course, a green space, and a floodplain, and that's what it will be. Thank you.
All right. Other questions, comments? In person or online? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, Cyrus. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the information. All right, so we will move on to our next agenda item, which is an update on the proposed Q Dojo at Maumai Nature Park. Bob DeWitt.
Good evening, members of the board and the public. My name is Bob DeWitt. I'm here representing Honolulu Foundation and now Hawaii Kudo Foundation, the nonprofits that are proposing to build a traditional Japanese archery facility at Maumai Park. Would like to say that just had a couple of tough acts to follow. I may have to wear my Japanese hakama next time. So, to spice it up a little bit. But good news, last Friday, we signed the formal agreement with the administration. And I have a meeting tomorrow with the administration and DPR, Department of Parks and Recreation, to go forward with the next steps. It really is critically dependent in terms of timing, how long the permitting process takes. Right now, my schedule has allowed 90 days for permitting. If that's true, it could be operational by this time next year. but obviously that's not under my control. So progressing, it's all good news so far. Any questions?
All right, any questions for Bob and the project?
Mhm. Mhm.
Sorry, Bob.
Questions?
Sorry, Bob. Do you mind just summarizing that question? We
Yeah,
just
so I
need
think
to
the
have-
question was, what are the benefits to the community and has the surrounding neighborhood been kept apprised of what's going on? So yes, I personally door knocked on all the adjacent properties and had an opportunity to speak with a number of folks. And I also participated in the cleanup that Lori mentioned earlier and talked to a few more, which was great. In terms of community benefits, it will be a public facility. It will be donated to the city and operated as a public facility. Therefore, the whole public is eligible to participate in the programs. The Kudo Foundation will operate it on behalf of the city because, of course, you need the expertise to do that, to train people and all that. But the vision is that once we're up and running, we're going to establish some outreach programs for high school kids, for adults, to get as many people engaged as we can. And one of the great things about Kudo is you can practice it from the time you're this tall to the time you're, bent over and 90. And if you go to Japan, you'll see a lot of older folks doing it. And it's great. It's great mental and physical discipline for all of us as we get into our senior years. And other benefits for the community are the facility will be available for other uses. So for example, it has a meeting room incorporated in it, and that can be booked. If you have a bridge club or a hula halau or whatever, you can use the meeting room. The open grass area that sits between the shooting house and the target house is about 100 feet wide by 50 feet wide, 100 feet long by 50 feet wide. All grass, great place for a hula halau to practice, or maybe even a little farmer's market. So I think there's lots of potential for the community to use it, and it is and will be open to the public for those uses. Mhm. Without exception, everybody I talked to was very much in favor of it, with one notable exception was a person who believed incorrectly that the existing park had been built by destroying a heiau. That a heiau had existed there and been desecrated, the sacred stones were carted away. And that is not the case. That's not true. According to the environmental report that was done 20-some years ago, there never was any heiau use or anything in that vicinity. So that's her sincere belief, but it's not based on fact.
Okay, so I drove by that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So the question is, where exactly in the park will the facility be? There's an existing cleared area where people walk their dogs. And then there's above that, Malka, that is a scrub brush area. It's pretty rough. And that's where we're going to build it. So we're going to clear out a lot of that scrub brush, which is also a fire hazard, and build it in there. But it will be set back from 16th Avenue, which becomes Cocoa Head Avenue at that point. So it won't be an eyesore. It'll still be shielded by vegetation along the road.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? Yeah, so go ahead.
Thank you, Robert, for the report. Two questions. One, do you have the funding for this already in place? And second, what is your contact information for community if they want to reach out to you?
The funding is in place. Our nonprofits are going to fund it. We are going to reach out to the community for donations, and particularly to the business community for maybe donations of equipment, air conditioners and things like that. But we're going to go out of pocket and be the bankroll for it to make sure it happens timely. And I'm sorry, the other half of your question?
I didn't see a contact information for you.
Oh.
If people wants to reach out with questions.
I apologize for not having a PowerPoint or something, but I can give you my card. But HonoluluFoundation.org, we have a web page and it has a specific page for the Qdojo project. And a little bit of a development from my first briefing is in order to comply with the legal requirements that the city has to live with, we had to set up a specially dedicated nonprofit just for this operation. So that sister nonprofit is Hawaii Qdo Foundation, and its website is being built. But for now, if you go to HonoluluFoundation.org, you can get a hold of me and, ask me all kind of questions.
All right. Any other questions? Yeah, Audrey.
I asked you this question before about the parking. How much parking is going to be available? Because some of it will be, I assume, for employees. And in the neighborhood, I think there are limitations in parking. So how do the neighborhood feel about the immediate neighborhood where parking could be taken away from their, where they live? Because I have that problem too. I'm on the other side of Kaimukī, where parking, especially after work, it's hard to find parking. So, and I assume a lot of people might be playing archery after work hours also. So if you can clarify that, the parking situation.
So the plan and the requirement is for 20 parking spaces, which I think is more than adequate for the needs of the facility as an archery operation. And that will be built as part of the project, and it will be built on that scrubland, that existing scrubland. So I don't envision us impinging upon the neighborhood parking at all. And the only input I got from the neighbors about parking was, A, make sure you keep the gate closed at night so people don't go in there and party. And B, if you can keep it from being paved, please do so, i.e. crush rock or something, because they worry about the kids going in there with skateboards and horsing around late at night. And the only way you're going to stop that is if it's not paved. So those were the only comments I got on the parking.
Okay. Any other questions?
For the building and 20 parking stalls that would be cleared of fire hazard brush, but is it really flat?
You're looking at the right area. You're correct. It is not flat. It's a slight upgrade. So there'll be grading done to level that out.
All right, we are going to have to move on. So any other
Okay.
questions, feel free to contact Bob directly. Thank you very much,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Appreciate the update. All right, so we're going to move on to a discussion on the Department of Parks and Recreation request for board and community input feedback on allowing dogs in city parks. As a little background, the board did receive a letter from the Department of Parks and Recreation indicating that 308 city park locations there are 308 city park locations around Oahu, but only 35 city parks allow leash dogs and 10 have off-leash areas. In Kaimukī, the area city parks without dog privileges are Kilauea, Petrie, Manolani, Kaimukī Community Park, and Kapa'olono Community Park. And the parks with dog privileges are Ma'umai Nature Park, which is on leash, and Pu'u'o Kaimukī Mini Park, which is also an on-leash park. DPR is requesting input on whether additional parks should allow dogs, as well as they are interested in ideas to remind owners of responsible behaviors and support mechanisms like waste bag dispensers to ensure messes are picked up and appropriately disposed. So we do have this item on the agenda and welcome any comments. Sir, would you like to start us off? If you don't mind coming back up to the microphone. Thank you.
Yes, I'll be speaking on behalf of lots of dogs. So I think they would obviously love more space. I do understand that some of the objections have been the bad actors that don't pick up their dog feces. And I think that that can be solved with stations that supply the pickup litters. And I'd personally be happy to help sponsor the cost of installing that, at least in the Montalani Park, which I'm familiar with. It's used by a lot of dogs. They're not supposed to be there, but it's quite a happy community, I'd say. And I guess I'm just here to be one of hopefully many voices that would support dogs being allowed in pretty much all the parks at a minimum on leashes to start with. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments on this topic from the board or the community? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Amy Fuller, and I would like to talk on behalf of the dogs in the parks. I am against this idea of having the dogs in the parks with or without the leashes. I've been traumatized by them. I very frequently go by Kapaluna Park in the mornings, and they used to have an off-leash dog park. And I like to go exercise. As I walk through the park, I've had dogs come up. I was down doing push-ups. The dog community was on the other side. I had one of the dogs come run across and start barking at me, and I'm backing up and I'm like, please get your dog away from me. And the lady's yelling at her dog and she just can't control it. And it's a very, very scary situation when you're in there like by yourself. And this has happened several times. Every morning there's someone with an off-leash German Shepherd. And you guys know German Shepherds are the third most dangerous dog based on fatalities and dogs. The thing that frustrates me about this is in the mornings, I go through that park and then I go up next to the dog park and the dog park's empty. So I don't understand why these guys are taking their off-leash dogs to that park when the dog park is empty. I also feel like, I talked to one of the city workers at the park and he spoke and said, one of the dog owners, their dog pooped on the lawn. And he said, hey, can you pick up your dog's poop? And the dog owner said, no, that's your job. And so, I understand there are good dog owners and then there's bad, right? And so I'm just giving you some examples of how I feel about the dogs in the parks. Also, I know that dogs are, I guess I should say on my way here, I drove by the park and there's a baseball game going on. In the outfield, there's off-leash dogs running around. Like if a ball goes out there and the dog starts running after it, like they're not even supposed to have the animals in parks or in that park. Up at the Pu'u'o Kaimukī Park, I don't even go up there at sunset because the dogs are just off-leash running everywhere. Like I went up once and it's just like 20 or 30 dogs. And so for me, it's scary to go into the parks when they're off-leash. I had a friend of a friend, so someone I knew, she had a dog off leash at a park. She had a German Shepherd and a little kid went to go towards it. And she said, I can't believe those parents let that kid off leash, but her dog was off leash. And then a week later, her dog actually murdered another dog at that same park. And so, of course, like, she had to go to trial for that. But I have seen her with her dog off leash at our beaches and at another park. And so I'm just worried about these owners. If you give them a little space, they just take more. Not only I feel like that, but in March of 2024, in the Big Island, a 71-year-old man was just walking in his neighborhood and was killed. He was mauled by 4 dogs. And because of that case, the state has actually passed into law Act 224, where now having a dog that's violent has not only become a misdemeanor, a $200 fine, but now it's a felony to have your dangerous dog off leash. And so even the state is like, hey, there's a dog problem. And we need to look at this. In Hawaii News Now in October 2024, there was an article that was published that said there's been a 20% increase in calls from the police over the past year, dog-related incidents. So it's in our community. They're in bike paths, sidewalks, and our parks. There's more and more calls for those areas because it's not safe to have the dogs off leash. Recently, this article is dated April 26, 2025. There was a dog that was off leash on the trailheads and it fell off of the ridge, and we actually had to call and have it airlifted off of the trail. And so I know how frustrating it is when hikers get into trouble and we need to airlift and how expensive it is. And now we're going to airlift dogs that are on these trails. I had a friend hiking and she was almost knocked off on one of the trails because there were dogs running by. And so our trails are not safe because of this. Over the last 4 years, there was a state worker who had their dog off leash on the beach in the North Shore, and it killed a monk seal. And that wasn't her first offense. She had been, over the course of 4 years, she had had her dogs attack seals. So in 2020, a dog attacked one of the seals, and then in 2024, the dog actually killed the monk seal. So our beaches aren't safe. I actually had someone on the beach who had 4 off-leash dogs, and she told me that when I said, hey, your dog should be on a leash because it was running around my feet, she said, no, you shouldn't be at the beach. And I was just like, wait, it says no dogs, and here I am, and she says, you're not allowed. And so that's kind of the mentality that I feel like we're fighting against. Our beaches aren't safe because of these dogs. And so I feel like, you know, I understand there's a lot of dogs around, right? I know people love their dogs, but where do you draw the line on when it's okay for the small dog to be off leash and then other ones see it and it's a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And next we have these German Shepherds and Pit Bulls in our community off leash. In fact, I was at my house and I had a dog, someone was walking their dog off leash. This dog ran into my yard, up my steps, and almost into my house. So luckily I hurried and shut the door, right? And so I think the signs that say no animals should say no dogs. They should have the fines for if your dog is off leash, and they should have a phone number to call if that is, so that people understand that this is serious. I know a lot of people say, well, it's happening anyway. So if we just let it happen, then it'll relieve the police of dog complaints. Well, there's already an increase, a 20% increase in dogs being, dog complaints being called to the police. So if we have more off-leash dogs, there's going to be more complaints. And I also wonder in our parks, who's responsible? Like if the parks and recs say, hey, it's okay if your dog's off leash, or it's okay if your dog's here on leash, and we know all the owners that drop the leashes and let their dogs run. The dog's on leash technically, but they're not holding it. Who's responsible for that attack? Because I guarantee you, whoever gets attacked, that person's leaving with or without their dog. And so I also am concerned about that. And I just feel like if we give owners that inch, they're going to take a mile, right? We already see it in our parks. The ones that say no dogs, already there's dogs without leashes. There's dogs with the leash, they're already running there. And if anything, right, our state is already making tougher laws. I think if anything, we need to continue to make the parks, the laws tougher too. And so as a concerned resident who uses the parks a lot, I want to say, please keep us safe, our trails, our parks, our beaches, our neighborhood, and our community. And that is with the dogs, keeping them on leash to make sure. And I just want to add, I go running a lot through the parks, and there was a lady who did have her dog on the leash. The leash was tied to her baby stroller. When we walked by, the dog started lunging and barking at us. It was a black lab. That baby stroller tipped over. Her baby was hanging upside a community member who utilizes the parks a lot. I wanted to voice my opinion. that I don't feel safe in the parks when there's dogs that are specifically off leash and even on leash. There's a lot of times they're very scary. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any other comments on this topic? In person or online? Yeah, Audrey, go ahead. No,
Again,
yeah,
it's
go
just
ahead.
that I live right across Capilano Park for 32 years, and I've had dogs, and they're part of my family, and I love them. But I understand exactly what she's saying. It's gotten very scary in recent years, and my own dog got attacked by a pit bull right outside of the park. You know, the walkway. We weren't even in the park, but on the side. And I've had a couple of friends that got bitten by dogs, and there are other dogs that are being attacked by other dogs. It's a kind of common, you know. My own friends' dogs get attacked too. So I know what you're saying. And they let their leash is on their neck, but they're running around. And also Capilano Park, though, I'm not sure about the other parks. There's basketball, swimming pool, tennis court, and you know, it's quite busy. And then there's 2 baseball fields. There's only 5 acres of land. So it's kind of hard when they have baseball practices for the kids, and it's great for the kids to have places to practice. And then sometimes there's soccer in between. So it's kind of hard for dogs I've seen dogs interfere with practices, and I think it's kind of dangerous for the children too, because they're running after these balls and the dogs are running around also. So I understand what you're saying. Thank you for sharing your information. But the parks, I think, need to consider the safety for the children too, or just people participating in that park in sports, or some people jog around, or some people play soccer and throw footballs. And it's kind of a busy park. So at least for Capilano, because I live right there. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other comments on this topic? Yeah, sir, go ahead.
First, I really love dogs too. And so when you first came up, I said, yeah, dogs in the park. And then she came up and I went, yeah, but what about the kids? Because to me, parks are made for the kids. And my kids love dogs and they'll run up to dogs, but it's the bad actors. So if you can figure out a way to get those bad actors under control, then maybe they belong in the parks, but I don't know how you would do that. I think we should have more dog parks, dedicated dog parks. And so you got parks for dogs and you got parks for kids and people, but thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah. We try not to. There are more laws against bad people.
All right. Okay, any other comments? Sir, did you have a comment back there? Yeah, if you don't mind coming up to the microphone, stating your name, please.
Hi, Steve Ewan here. Just a quick comment on this, maybe pertains more to my experience and just wanted to get this out. Not so much in Kaimukī, although I live on Cocoa Head, but more in an ocean setting. The park at Kuli'o, last time I checked, and that was like last week, the sign says no dogs, animals. Although I understand, and maybe I'm wrong, that sign pertains to other animals. But I understand people need to go to the shoreline, so they have to walk through the park if you have dogs, because I understand, you know, that people are allowed to take dogs to the shoreline. That's kind of a right. But at the bathhouse and shower, the dog owners sometimes bring their equipment and use the shower to give their dogs a bath. And it's a heavily used park. And so people have to wait And it, it's just a sense that this isn't right, maybe. So if dogs become allowed, and maybe there should be some policies, signage, some way to address the use of the shower. That particular park has a connection, and dog owners will bring a hose. The same way, some families will bring a hose and connect it, and then nobody else can use the shower. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we're going to have to move on, but the city is soliciting comments until August 29, 2025. So if there are additional comments on this, feel free to contact me through the board website, and I'd be glad to pass that on to the Department of Parks and Recreation. All right, so we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a discussion on 3615 Sierra Drive property. Little bit of background on this. As folks know, this is the property that was subject to the DPP revocation of the building permit for violations of the building code, and a denial of the appeal by the Zoning Board of Appeals. My understanding is there have been some questions in the community about the status of that. Unfortunately, our mayor's representative is not here this evening, but we can pass on any comments or questions regarding the development or the status of the development to the mayor's representative, as well as our elected officials. So I just wanted to open it up and see if there were any comments or questions regarding 3615 Sierra Drive that we could pass on to the city. Let's see. Elaine Evans has her hand up. Elaine, go ahead. Elaine, are you there?
How's that?
We
How's
can
that?
barely, yeah, that's a little bit better, Elaine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to let you know, I spoke with Adam Dew in Tommy Waters' office, and he said that the city could request that the owner at least mow the grass so that it's not, all over the sidewalk. And that if she refuses to do that, the city will do it and then charge her for it. So I'd like to see that happen. The buildings are just completely derelict. I had an email conversation with Donna Puna, who's the head of DPP, and asked her what the timeline was, and she didn't really give me an answer. She said it's up to the owner and how quickly they respond, but I don't think you can let these houses just sit there derelict indefinitely. And so I'd like really a more definitive answer about a timeline for what's going to be done and when.
All right, thank you very much. We will pass that on. Any other questions or comments? Anyone online? Yeah, go ahead. Sir, do you mind coming up to sorry, do you mind coming up to the microphone? Actually, you could use my mic.
Yeah, no, I live nearby, and it's really sad. It's basically a disguised apartment house with 30 or 30 some units, and there is no place to park on Sierra. There's a little pool property. So the sponsoring, having 40, 50 people move into these three properties is just not right. It's a single family neighborhood. It was not meant to have what they call monster homes. It's really just a disguised apartment house with inadequate parking. So as a nearby resident, I think it really should just be torn down and redeveloped as single family homes, not disguised apartments.
Thank you very much. Okay, Elaine, before we get back to you, I just wanted to check if there's any other comments. Hang on. Let's see, the Callies are on.
Yes. Can
Yes,
you hear
go
us?
ahead. Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Okay, I think my husband David Callies has a question.
Yep. Can you guys hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to back up and support what Elaine Evans said. I don't know where the city is on tear downs. This has certainly happened before when someone's a violation of either a covenant or an ordinance. But it would be helpful to have from DPP an indication of what's outstanding that the owners have to do. It's not all that clear just looking at the site that they're in compliance with the land use ordinance, let alone the building code. Have they got the proper setbacks? What's the lot line? Is this a planned development? What's the nature of the permit that they got to go ahead in the first place? The area is zoned for single-family detached residences, but single-family detached residences on single lots. So did they subdivide? Have they complied with the subdivision regulations? Has anybody checked?
Okay, yeah, we can pass that on. Any other comments?
Hi,
Hang on.
this is Kyra. I don't know. Let me start my video. Oh,
Yes, go
you
ahead.
guys.
Yes, just go ahead.
Okay. Aloha. Yeah, so I just want to thank everyone who's been staying on top of this. I fully agree. Like, how did this ever go as far as it did on that beautiful, beautiful property? I think anyone that has lived here for a while has known it was a beautiful old majestic home with trees, and then tear down, and then clearly from the get-go you could tell it was in violation. I was calling the planning department. I think I talked to Scott Yang, who the inspector, and he just assured me that everything is fine. I don't know if he's still at the planning department, but I also would like to know, what are the plans with it? Can it get torn down? Um, and if so, along with the others' voices here, how can we as a community make sure that it's developed as single family home, not, um, you know, disguised in one way, and really it was going to have like 14 bathrooms. Our sewage system can't handle any of that. So yeah, just again, thanking community for all you guys are doing. I know there's a lot of us on this next door, and I'm happy to help any way I can too.
All right, thanks very much. All right, circling back to Elaine, did you have an additional comment?
I did. I just wanted to thank everybody for their comments. I think we're all in agreement here, and I know I thank you for offering to pass on our comments, but what's going to happen next after you pass them on? You're going to pass them on to, I guess, the mayor's office and DPP, and then are they required to respond? What's going to happen next?
Yes, we're planning on passing them on to the mayor's office, the mayor's representative, as well as Tommy Waters' office as well.
Okay, and then what's going to happen? Are we going to get a response from them? Are you going
Yes,
to?
we're requesting an update from them, hopefully by the next meeting, to see, what the status is.
Yeah, I'm disappointed no one was here from DPP or the mayor's office tonight, since it was on your agenda. So, and I let Dawn Apuna know that I was interested to hear the conversation. So I'm disappointed nobody showed, but not surprised. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks, Elaine. Patrick, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Chair. I just had a question regarding any fines that have been incurred to this point, and what's the status of that? Because I think we were told that, they were in violation and they were going to be hit with fines. So I just wanted to know kind of what the total is and kind of where we stand with that as well. So that was my only question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Oh, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I have been involved at the very start with High Good Neighbor, and we fought against these monster houses. And we would go to the city council meetings, and they were so arrogant. These people thought they had the right to tell us that utilizing a 5,000 square foot for a single family was not utilizing it to its full potential, and how they're helping the community. And we just couldn't get much going until that Sierra group. You guys were terrific. I mean, you stopped that construction when we couldn't stop a lot of them. And there's one on coming off the freeway that I think it's the same owner, right? And it's been just vacant. The roof's on, everything. So thank you for you guys' hard work, because really it needed a community that was strong and more vocal and got things done.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to have to move on. We will pass on these comments and make a note of them for the mayor's representative as well as Council Waters' office, and hopefully we'll get an update during the next meeting. All right, so we will move on to the elected officials reports. Again, the mayor's representative could not make it this evening. He did submit a written report, which is posted to our Google Drive, so that's available. Councilmember Tommy Waters' office. I know Adam couldn't make it. Is there another representative from Councilmember Waters' office this evening?
Hi, I'm here.
Aye, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me? Hi, I'm Tasha Luke. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, board members. Tasha Luke, Chair Waters Constituent Services Specialist. I was taking notes as well regarding the Sierra drive home, and we'll pass it on to Chair Waters. Again, Adam couldn't make it tonight. He's out of the office, but he assures that he will address it once he gets back. In the meantime, I did email out the District 4 main newsletter and just wanted to go over some highlights for that. If I can share my screen real quick. Sorry, wrong one. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So just going over this real quick, the main newsletter. First page, we have Chair's welcome message. And then going over some notable bills and resolutions that were passed in April. Bill 24 pertaining to Oahu's primary urban core development plan passed third reading. This bill creates a strategic plan for growth and development along the island's most heavily populated communities and neighborhoods. Chair Waters has fought very
Asha?
hard to keep.
You're not showing the council members.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Don't think I'm getting it.
That's okay. Tasha, in the interest of time, maybe you could just summarize it for us. That'd be terrific.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
A couple of bills and measures passed. I just did want to quickly mention the Honolulu 311 app for any city issues. This is a great resource. You can quickly report concerns directly to departments and track updates in real time. It also accepts photos, and you can drop a location pin as well. And then lastly, this past Saturday, Chair Waters and members of his team joined the Kaimukī Business and Professional Association and volunteers to help clean up Kaimukī Community Park. And that's it.
All
I
right.
can take any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Chair Waters' office to take back? Yeah, go ahead.
Aloha. I just had a question because I had seen a news report the other day about speed bumps and humps and other deterrents are actually slowing down the response times for first responders and public transportation. And speeding is a big issue that always comes up around pretty much any community. And one of the solutions that even myself has always talked about is like, oh, we should just add speed bumps to these streets to slow people down. But with them shedding the light that this slows down the time of the first responders, I was just curious if there's any other actions being looked at or solutions, because you don't want to slow down the first responders. Because then it makes me wonder, what about all the speed humps that are in place already that are negatively impacting the response times? Are those going to remain in place, or are they going to be removed? And then I know they're putting up speed cameras in different areas, and is that a solution? Like, could you put speed cameras in residential community areas? Would people accept it? But I think the speed cameras is a good way to go, just for the simple fact that it's not slowing down any response times from those first responders. So yeah, I was just curious if your office, if that was like anything that you guys were looking at or working on or had heard more about. That's all.
Okay, yeah, thank you for your comment. I can take that back to Chair Waters' office and provide an update next meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Tasha. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the Governor Josh Green's representative. I believe Amanda's here. Hi, Amanda.
Aloha, everyone. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members and community. Oh, I'm okay. Thank you. Governor Green has proclaimed Hurricane Preparedness Week, May 18th through 24th. This is in preparation for hurricane season, which is June 1st through November. One of my favorite Facebook pages to visit is the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency's page. It's extremely informative. There's humor, there's a good amount of information. And for instance, last month, the Brettas were talking about tsunami warnings. And this month, they're talking about hurricane preparedness. In addition to the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, the DCCA has released for Hawaii residents encouraged to review your insurance policies in preparation for hurricane season. So if you go to the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, you can look at one of their most recent press releases, and this is regarding reviewing your insurance policies. Governor.hawaii.gov is a place that you can visit their website to see the newsletter that's out. I have some on the table here, but for those of you online, you can go to governor.hawaii.gov. And lastly, the state launches Operation Hire Hawaii to fill vacant positions. These are not only positions that are vacant, but this is to help any federal workers that have been displaced. So in April, there were 900 job seekers who were interested, and there were over 3,000 applications since the launch in February. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Any questions for Amanda, the governor's representative?
Hi. Oh, governor.hawaii.gov. Oh, the Facebook page is under Hawaii Emergency Management Agency.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. So our next item of business is from a report, State Senator Stanley Chang. Is he on, or is his representative online?
Yes,
Okay.
everyone. My name is Angie with Senator Chang's office. Just a few updates with the wrap up of our legislative session. Our recent monthly newsletter highlights bills that impact our community. For example, fireworks. One of the bills extends the illegal firework task force till 2030, which has been effective in removing over 200,000 pounds of illegal fireworks from our streets. Regarding mopeds, SB 30 prohibits people under the age of 16 from driving a moped and requires all people driving a moped to wear a helmet, keeping our community safe. And the extension of free school meals. So we have a bill that expands free school meal coverage to students who currently qualify for reduced price lunch, helping to feed our lower income families. Regarding housing bills, it was a productive session for housing. And if you're interested in learning more about the highlights, we have a recording on YouTube of our joint housing post-session info briefing with Senator Chang and Representative Evslin on Senator Chang's YouTube page. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them back to the office. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Angie. Any questions for Senator Chang's office in person or online? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much, Angie. Thanks for the report. All right. State Senator Leslie Hart emailed me. He said that he was not able to make it this evening, but he is available for any questions by email. And we will move on to State Representative Tina Grandinetti. Is she online or her representative online? Oh, we have a representative in person. Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Cristobal. I'm the office manager for Representative Tina Grandinetti. She says that she's sorry that she's not here tonight. She's actually at the Kalani High School graduation. So congratulations to all the seniors who graduated tonight and are graduating this graduation season. I'm kind of just here to share some of her notes and big takeaways as we did wrap up this legislative session. One of the biggest things that she wanted to say is while there were some big wins, Representative Grandinetti acknowledged that there were points where the legislature fell short this session. She was especially disappointed by the body's failure to pass paid family leave, the continued erosion of public trust by not passing meaningful campaign finance reform, and definitely acknowledged missed opportunities to stronger bills as we try again next session. Despite all these disappointments, we want to celebrate our wins. We passed a historic green fee that will use tourist dollars to fund climate resilience and natural resource management to protect our precious island ecosystem. We expanded access to free school meals so that more keiki can receive the nutrition they need to learn in schools. We created dedicated funding sources for Safe Routes to School, a program that improves our pedestrian networks and makes our roads safer for all of us. And we invested in critical biosecurity work to protect our island ecosystem from the dire threat posed by invasive species like coconut rhinoceros beetles and little fire ants. On top of this, as many of you guys may know, this is Representative Grantinetti's first session. She was a newly elected lawmaker, and we're happy to report that our Senate companion bill, SB 332, passed. It was actually introduced by Senator Stanley Chang on our behalf. And this bill prohibits the bundling of foreclosed properties at auction and gives community organizations 45 days to match or beat the bid to buy the property. It's a tool that will help community organizations keep local homes in local hands and out of investors' pockets. This is especially important in times of economic turmoil and in post-disaster areas like Lahaina, where out-of-state investors are eager to buy up properties. In the Transportation Committee, which Representative Grandinetti was a vice chair, we passed a bill that creates a statewide regulatory framework for e-bikes. This measure provides clarity for retailers, riders, and law enforcement, and will aid in our efforts to expand micromobility and responsible e-bike use. The whole e-bicycling league was a big help in creating this bill, so we also thank you guys for all your help with that. And like I mentioned earlier about Safe Routes to School, that was a big win for us as well. And we just want to say that while the session is over, we want to remind you that our office is still open. I'm still working, so feel free to call us at 808-586-6310. That's our main line, or if you have any questions that you want to email us or images or any of that, you can email rep.grandinetti@capital.hawaii.gov. Yeah, we're here to answer your questions and help in any way that we can. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. Any questions or comments for Representative Grandinetti? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much. Thanks for the report. All right. So we will move on to State Representative Jackson Sayama. Is he on or is his representative on? Okay. Looks like he was not able to make it this evening. So we will move on to Congressman Ed Case's office. Is his representative online? All right, seeing none, we will move on to announcements. So I did want to mention that we have Anson here this evening as our neighborhood assistant, but I did want to mention that Jeffrey Jones has been our neighborhood assistant for a number of months now. And I just wanted to personally thank him for all of his assistance as he is moving on and rotating to another board. So thank you, Jeffrey. Even though you're not here this evening, we appreciate it. Any other announcements from the board? Okay. Seeing none, board business, approval of the April 16, 2025 written summary of video record. Is there a motion to approve that summary of the video record? Okay, it is so moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that motion carries. The written summary of video record is approved. Reports, any report from the Traffic and Transportation Committee?
Yeah, just quickly. We recently requested a meeting with the City Department of Transportation Design and Planning Division as a follow-up to our March 4th joint transportation meeting with Diamond Head, Kapahulu St. Louis Neighborhood Board, and the Pololo Neighborhood Board. We plan to have a discussion on rerouting bus Route 200 and the impact of the discontinuance of Route 9, bus Route 9 on the Kaimukī and Pololo residents and the economic impact of on Kaimukī town due to the discontinuance of bus Route 9. We also want to discuss the traffic issues at intersections, safety and speeding concerns as presented from committee and board members. We have not received a reply from DTS, Department of Transportation, yet, and we do realize they have a busy schedule, and we're just coming out of the session, legislative session also. So we hope to hear from them shortly, soon, I hope. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. And thanks very much to the committee for all its work on that. All right, any other, okay. So moving on to members' attendance at other meetings. Did the members attend any other meetings in the past month to report on? Yeah, Harold, go ahead.
I did go by the Diamond Head board meeting because on the agenda was a presentation by Parks and Rec on our issue of dogs in park. But it was not a presentation. It was just exactly just an announcement that the Park and Rec department is looking for public input. That's all it was.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Let's see, it looks like Lori has her hand up. Lori, did you have a comment?
I'm curious, is Brian Kimura from State DOT ever coming back as a regular reporting person?
Yes, I haven't heard from him in a while. He typically reports on a quarterly basis, so I'll check in with
Yes.
him.
I thought May was one of the months, that's why.
Okay.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I'll check in with him. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
All right. So we will move on to the last item, the announcement that the next regular meeting of the Kaimukī Neighborhood Board will be Wednesday, June 18, 2025, 6:30 p.m. right here at the library and via WebEx. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.